Don. How are you, ma'am?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you had an uneventful
sir. All right. I will call to order the Blythewood Town Council meeting for the month of February. Today is February 28, 2022. The time is now 6:02 p.m. I'll ask Ms. Cowan to please call the roll. I'm here.
Present.
Here.
Present.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Cowan. And was the notification and posting of tonight's agenda completed in accordance with state law? Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, before we use tonight's agenda, I'll be looking for a motion to approve it.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second. It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve tonight's agenda as written. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Thank you. Please join Councilman Rich McKenrick for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
Let's pray. Father God, we do thank you for bringing us all here this evening to conduct the town business for the town of Blythewood. It's hard to believe that we're coming to the end of the second month of the year and heading into a new month, but we do thank you for the change of season as we see flowers beginning to bud and trees start to get their leaves again. So we do thank you for the change of season and the fact that you do bring everything new again. Father, we'd be remiss this evening if we did not pray for our first responders who are out there protecting the freedoms that we enjoy, protecting citizens from the continued pandemic, as well as our military that protects the very freedoms that we get to enjoy day to day. Father, we also pray internationally for the people of Ukraine as that conflict continues to rage and innocent people are being killed on a daily basis, and we ask that if it be your will, you just bring peace in that region and spare innocent lives. We ask you go before us in all we do and say this evening as we conduct the town's business, and may what we do and say be beneficial to you. Yes, we ask in your son's name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. We will begin tonight, my left and your right, watching at home. Councilman Rich McKenrick remarks.
Thank you, Mayor. I will certainly keep mine brief. Thank everybody for being here tonight and those joining us by television. And as we look at the agenda, got a lot before us. As I just mentioned in my prayer, it's nice to drive around Blythewood and see the change of season and winter go by the wayside, and spring, every sign that spring is on its way. So there are brighter days in front of us, and we certainly look forward to them. So with that, I will turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Sloan-Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Magic hands. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Busy weekend here in Blythewood, celebrating Black History Month as we come to the end of an amazing month, celebrating some amazing people here from Blythewood, some major achievements from some local families, and those continued achievements. Two-day event over at the gymnasium at Bethel Hanbury. If you wasn't there, you missed a great treat. You even missed seeing some old guys playing basketball. What an amazing view to see 60 and 70-year-olds still can shoot three-pointers, just as they did during their basketball days. So wonderful event there. And then transition over here to the Manor on Sunday. Yours truly, me and the mayor attended both of those days, and lovely event honoring Bethel Hanbury and Miss Hanbury and the alumni through those years that walked those halls over there. So the school will be torn down soon, and we will keep the gym and keep the honor of Bethel Hanbury alive here in Blythewood. And last, if Councilman Larry Griffin is watching at home, Happy birthday again, sir, and thank you for all your contributions to the town, from you and your family. Thank you, and thank you for helping me as I transition to council. With that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Eddie Ballmer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As our distinguished councilman said, it was a very busy month, and just wanted to let you know I had the privilege of going to the Wateree Veterans Park on Friday. The Joseph Kershaw chapter of Daughters of American Revolution had hosted the Reefs Across America mobile education unit, and they had a welcome home for Vietnam era veterans, not just those that served in country, but anybody who served from 1955 to 75 is considered a Vietnam era veteran. They recognized all the veterans in attendance. Major General retired Julian Burns, which is the Kershaw County chairman of the county council, made opening remarks, and I was privileged to be one of the elected officials in sight that was recognized that day. But we even had a command sergeant major here from Blythewood, Daniel Reitzman, retired, actually gave the remarks that day. So it was very, very well attended. It was an all-day affair on Friday, but they did the welcome home ceremony at 1 p.m. And then Saturday morning, I was privileged to attend the tournament that's going on at Westwood, the baseball tournament between 8 teams from all around the area. Got to talk to Jason Powell, knowing he's getting ready to retire, but went out there and watched Richard Wynn play Great Falls, and so they're playing again tonight at Westwood and Great Falls, and playing tomorrow night at both locations. Championship game will be Thursday evening at Westwood. So that was a very nice, well-attended thing. And right after the baseball game, I was privileged enough to represent the Lake Wateree AMVETS Post 33 at the Big Red Barn, celebrating their 17th Warrior Path class that just graduated the day before. So 17 classes. We were able to go up there and present the executive director with a check from the state unit of AMVETS and Post 33. And that was a very well-attended event, too. It was very nice to see what was going on up there. I know most of y'all have been, but it was just really good to go up there and present them, veterans helping veterans, giving them a check to help keep this going. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Councilman Donald Brock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I was riding over here, I was speaking to a gentleman on the phone, and he asked me how my day was going, and I told him that lately I had been reflecting on travesty that's occurring in Eastern Europe, and how lucky that I am that I won the birth lottery and was born in a country where you don't have to worry about your neighbors invading or dropping rockets or bombs on you. How fortunate we are. How blessed we are that we have a wonderful, strong, and powerful military. And thank you, sir, and the audience for your service. Get the opportunity to explain to my children what's going on in the world. It's not something that any parent looks forward to, but it's something that every parent must do in these times like these. So I echo Councilman McHenrick's prayer in stating that America should stand behind the Ukrainians as they fight for their freedom against a tyrant that is the Russian president. On a more positive note, I want to thank the Board of Architectural Review for expediting and approving the Taco Bell that's coming to the town. I know there has been some negative comments about Taco Bell online, and that's okay. People just need to understand that the businesses are the lifeblood of Blythewood. We do not charge property tax. If we don't have business, we don't have revenue. So look forward to patronizing the Taco Bell. There has been movement on the Frank's Car Wash, where Councilman Kendrick and I get our vehicles washed, maybe some others, not sure. But it's great to see Blythewood growing, and Blythewood will continue to grow as there are additional businesses that are looking to move in and develop in our wonderful, loving, and inviting community. And on that note, a certain wonderful and athletic young lady who lives in my neighborhood, her name is Brooke Bolton. She plays for Blythewood softball. And at least the last 2 years, she has sold these fundraising cards on behalf of their softball team. We talk about supporting local business. A few of the local businesses that you can get a discount from if you procure one of these cards. Doco Smoke, Chubby's, the newest restaurant in Blythewood, Waffle House, San Jose. This card last year more than paid for itself, and I took it upon myself to procure 4 additional cards for our members of council.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You can pass it along to whomever. If Rich doesn't have one, if Sloan doesn't have one. But anyways, I highly recommend anybody pick one of these up. It's a cheap advertisement for Blythewood softball, but I told them that I would because it's more than paid for itself. Mine paid for myself after 2 trips to Jersey Mike's and 1 to San Jose. So if anybody else wants one, I recommend contacting Blythewood softball. It's a good way to support them and to continue to support our local businesses. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, thank you, sir. Move to the mayor's remarks. Speaking of a busy month, I want to commend the Blythewood Rotary for their first inaugural 5K and half marathon event here. Started here in Doco Meadows Park, ran throughout the town. You get to see the local businesses, run through, see the families out and about. It was a pretty good turnout for the first event. My wife and I both participated. She did much better, I know it surprises everyone, than I did. She finished second in her age group. Of course, I had to stop and talk to people, so I couldn't finish second myself, but you know how that is. Wonderful time, and I want you all to get that on your calendar for next year because it's a great event to get out, walk, run, enjoy the scenic beauty of Blythewood while you're going through the downtown and local business areas. Which also reminds me of the Oktoberfest, which does the same with the Volksmarch, where you can come here on Saturday morning, walk, you get to see all the local businesses, meet the owners if they're there and the employees, and just get out and slow down and walk through the town and see the beauty of Blythewood and meet the business owners that, again, as Councilman Brock says, are the lifeblood of our community. And thank them for what they're doing, for choosing Blythewood. They could choose anywhere up and down I-77, but they choose to open their business here. So I commend all of us who patronize their businesses. There will also be another run in October, the Shaggy Run, to raise money for, and I shamelessly promote this, it's my wife's cause, for children and young adults who become addicted to various drugs. The Shaggy Run will raise money for individuals to be able to go to treatment center in Greenwood, South Carolina, the Oaks, and get the treatment they need with this opioid epidemic that we're facing now. I also want to talk about Black History Month, as Councilman Griffin talked about. Every single year, it gets better and better, the events we host, that the groups that sponsor host, I should say. We participate as a town by giving them revenues, and again, I've said this many times before, you judge your government based on what they provide resources to. I think this council has it right. We give monies, hospitality tax, accommodations tax for these great events to celebrate our culture. I have called, and Councilman Griffin has agreed to assist me to host a Juneteenth celebration here in June. Columbia does a great job of it, but why shouldn't we as Blythewood do the same and bring more people here together to become more educated in different cultures and grow together as a community? So I'm looking forward to that event as we develop it coming soon. I want to commend Ms. Doris Coleman, Ms. Margaret Kelly, the Blythewood Historical Society Board for sponsoring that and putting that together. It's a fantastic event. It is on our YouTube site. You can go there, you can watch some speeches, you can watch some events. So if you didn't have an opportunity to come out and see it, please go and take your families and look at that. It's a wonderful occasion. I will also commend Mr. Mizell and Mr. Powell, the athletic directors for both Blythewood and Westwood High School, as our Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, both sponsoring baseball events, invitationals to bring more people to Blythewood. That's what we ask for. That's what we like. Bring tourism here. Bring kids here to participate in a very healthy and athletic event and competition. And Westwood has led the way now with this week with their tournament. And then Blythewood, of course, will have their Diamond Invitational in April during spring break. So I encourage you all to come out. Opening ceremonies for our Blythewood Baseball Park Recreation League will be the 12th of March. So if you're home and you want to get out and enjoy some kids and see athletic events and what's going on, some competition, that will be on March 12th. That opens the season and it'll go through mid-May. So I encourage you to do that. With that, I'll conclude, and thank you all for watching at home. We'll move to the Town Administrator Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things. Like Councilman Brock said, the Board of Architectural Review met on February 22nd and voted to approve a certificate of appropriateness for a Taco Bell located at 209 Blythewood Road. And they also are requesting that staff draft language concerning the regulation of lighting and window signs. You may recall that the town had 4 signs declaring Blythewood a Purple Heart town. After much work on the encroachment permits with DOT, those signs were approved last week and have been installed on the major roads entering Blythewood. And finally, our marketing and special projects manager position has been filled. Ms. Anya Qasim has been hired, and she'll begin on May 9th following her graduation from Lander University. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Council, you have minutes from our town council meeting from January 24th, 2022, January 28th, 2022, and February 7th, 2022 before you. I'll be asking for approval of those minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Councilman Griffin.
if no objections, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the minutes from the town council meeting January 24th, 2022, January 28th, 2022, and February 7th, 2022. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Part 2 tonight is a public hearing. An ordinance to adopt the Town of Blythewood Comprehensive Plan for 2020 through 2030. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This a public hearing is a requirement for the comprehensive plan. So if anyone has come here to speak on it, we have not received any comments either leading up to the first reading or following between first reading and now.
Councilmember comments?
In our joint planning commission council meeting, we had a lot of positive comments in congratulating Councilman McKendrick on his part, and also all the new members of the planning commission for the work that they put in. So I think we got some positive feedback that night, for that. They'll go ahead and approve it. So.
Any additional comments? I think it's an excellent plan with several actionable objectives listed, and I think Blythewood's heading in the right direction. And I want to thank, again, publicly, the volunteers that serve on our planning commission. We couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate your efforts. Moving on, discussion item tonight, update on the proposed roundtable discussion to assist local Blythewood businesses. I'll start with you, Mr. Williamson. And then I'll turn over to Councilman McHenry.
I'll turn it over. I don't have any additional
Please,
notes.
Councilman McHenry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Williamson. We discussed briefly at a town council meeting last month, possibly holding a job fair here in Blythewood for the small businesses and employers in and around the town who are having an extremely difficult time hiring in the current job market, both from an employer as well as an employee perspective. We did hold a meeting, Mr. Williamson representing the town, Mr. Phil Fry from the Chamber of Commerce, Steve Hastrock from the Manor, and myself. Phil Fry had reached out to some local Chamber of Commerce around the area who have held job fairs and got some feedback from them, as well as several of us, 2 or 3 of us who were there had talked to small businesses as well as to check in on their hiring procedures and the difficulty they're having finding employees. After some conversation, it's apparent that the area does not have a lack of necessarily job fairs, but a lack of participants coming seeking those jobs. So employers will attend, but there seems to be a lack of available employees. So we pivoted a little bit during our discussion and would like to present and bring some additional information back to council, join an employer roundtable, letting various industries come in and discuss what they are doing that is working, what they are doing that is not working, and possibly sharing information with each other in more of an open format to try to let Blythewood promote just the communication business to business to see how we can effectively help them in the hiring process. Mr. Williamson brought up even going as far as if signage is an issue, then maybe bring that before council and relax some ordinances for a set period of time for their signage to change. Some employees have the opportunity to have maybe a reader board or a billboard that they could put now hiring on while other businesses don't, and all really competing for the same audience of individuals looking for jobs. So we've set some follow-up steps in place, and as a group, we'll follow up and bring more concrete information back to council to see if we can move forward with more of a roundtable discussion for Blythewood and surrounding businesses for an open dialogue. That's it, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. And for everyone watching at home and here, if you know young people looking for employment, we're going to get the job fair together here locally in Blythewood with our local businesses. And just stay tuned. We recognize this is an issue all over America, but here in Blythewood, we're going to take proactive steps to make sure folks know that there is employment available here in our small businesses. Any comments, council members? Hearing none, moving to tonight, Part 4, action items, and then, of course, citizen testimony regarding action items. As an item is presented, if you wish to speak, just signify, and I will recognize you. Tonight, Part A, a second reading in Ordinance 2022.001, discussion and approval of the Town of Blythewood Comprehensive Plan 2020 to 2030. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is the second reading. There are no changes to the comprehensive plan from the first reading. But once approved, the Planning Commission will begin focusing on specific aspects of the plan, like the design of multi-street and Creech Road extension, and also what normally follows an approval of a comprehensive plan is a rewriting of the zoning ordinance. So we'll start focusing on that as well.
Council member comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Councilman Griffin.
So I'm curious, how would we deal, and I don't know if it's a question to you or Mr. Williamson, but how would we deal with future annexation in bridging it into the comprehensive plan?
Right, so that future land use map actually extends beyond the borders of the town, so it kind of broadly designated what those uses should be, but inevitably, it'll be something that doesn't reflect that. So we would have to just modify the future land use plan to reflect what was being annexed if it didn't match up. But I mean, there is broad guidance to provide the town for what those uses should be, because when annexed, you do establish a use as well. Is that your question?
Yeah, so that is my question. I'm just kind of curious about the zip code. Like if we actually went after the entire zip code, that would spark a major, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that would go much further than a future land use plan.
That's what my,
okay. I would say then we need to modify the future land use plan, I guess. That would constitute some large changes in the comprehensive plan, I would think. But certainly, I mean, it's not that big of an issue to amend the comprehensive plan. It's same process we've just been through. Two readings and a 30-day notice for a public hearing. Of course, you don't want to do it all the time, but for something like that, if we were to take on that big of an endeavor, of course, I think that would constitute major changes.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments, council members? Looking for a motion to
approve.
Second.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve second reading of Ordinance 2022.001. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The second reading is approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Part B tonight, a second reading of Ordinance 2022.002, discussion and approval of an ordinance to revise the town's business license ordinance to allow discounts for early payment. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There have been no changes since the first reading.
Council members?
Mayor.
Councilman Brock?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Williamson, this is, to reiterate, something that's been in place for multiple years. This isn't anything new that's going to produce a reduction in business license fees for the town.
That's correct. Okay. Yeah, this is just a transition that we missed going from the old ordinance to the new statewide ordinance, because this is something that's unique to the town of Blythewood that a lot of other towns don't have, but has been established. Yes. Correct.
Thank you. Second question, does this ordinance make it retroactive for the current fiscal year we're in?
Yes, I mean, we are currently applying discounts.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Councilman Griffin.
if there's no other comments, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the second reading of Ordinance 2022.002. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The second reading is approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Part C tonight, discussion and approval of the selection of a vendor to replace the flooring in Doco Manor. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The carpeting here in Doco Manor has been badly in need of replacement. We've discussed it in multiple budget discussions. Staff published a request for proposals and received 2 bids. The decision was made to go with luxury vinyl tile over carpet because of the lower long-term maintenance and longer life. This has become the most popular flooring for wedding venues in this area. And despite the higher bid, we are recommending that Bonnet be awarded the contract because, one, they installed the original carpet and have been very responsive throughout the bid process, and 2, their bid provided a much more detail to what they were offering. And I believe we have some samples if y'all are interested in looking at that.
Sure. Let's bring the samples forward. Who has them?
I'll go.
Is that the same one, Steve? That's it. Oh, yeah.
Please, Councilman Griffin.
To Mr. Hasterrock, how improving the floors, could you just give us some background on, your projected revenue, how this will add value?
Almost all of the wedding venues around town now are going to LVT or LVP. That's the same thing. The plank has much longer shelf life. One of the nice things about it, we're putting in some carpet, but also mostly LVT, and these are tiles or planks, so if they get damaged or something goes wrong with them, you can replace them. This is broadloom carpet. You can't replace very easily. If something goes wrong, we've got some bad spots here. Also, the Manor does a lot of business based on its appearance, and we think this is very an attractive option. Again, most of our competition has gone to LVT, and it goes well with wedding decorations and big parties and things. It doesn't clash. This particular carpet with the cross in the middle tends to clash with people's pictures and things. So we think it's a big improvement to
magnify the look and the attractiveness of the manor.
I have a comment and a question for me. My comment is that we redid White Oak Conference Center. We did the dining hall with the exact same thing, and it's about twice this big. It wears well. It's easy to clean. It's long lasting. So I think it's a good choice for in here for the whole building. My only question is, when you got the bids, I mean, was there a reason we didn't look for shoe molding around? I mean, to dress it up, or is that something that says we're going to address it later, but we didn't think about trying to do that while we were doing it?
Truthfully, no. We could.
I mean, it's just a question.
Do it at a later date.
Yeah, it's just a question. I think it dresses it up. I mean, so if you talk about adding value, I think it makes the appearance a lot better. So I'd get it down, and I would look for somebody to come in and put shoe molding up. That's just my recommendation.
Noted.
Always go with quarter round.
Councilman Griffin.
You know, most installers, when I had mine done at home in my office, they, you know, it was kind of included. And that, I do agree with you, Councilman Bowman, that, you know, it would dress it up a whole lot more. If they don't get close enough to the edge, you may see, you know, a decent gap. And if liquid is something that is dropped, it could spill in there and cause some other damages too.
Well, that's good to check, a suggestion, and we could certainly, you know, take it up a later date or talk to Bonnets. I don't know if Bonnets provides that service, but I could certainly ask them or any other bidder.
Any other comments?
There are none. I'll make a motion. We approve the contract to Bonnets.
Second.
And properly motion and seconded to approve the selection of a vendor to replace the flooring in Delco Manor. Any further discussion? Steve, I want to thank you for maintaining this crown jewel of Blythewood. I appreciate all your efforts.
You're welcome.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you. Part D tonight, discussion and approval of the allocation of funds for an outside agency, and this is transitions. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you all may recall, council requested that outside agencies each come before council once they have submitted their nonprofit information and stated how they intend to use the funds that were discussed during the budget work sessions in 2021. During those discussions, council designated $5,000 for the Day Center for Homeless Members of our community called Transitions. Midlands Housing Alliance operates Transitions, and they have recently provided the requested information to us. The Executive Director, Craig Curry, is here at the meeting to explain in more detail about Transitions and how this money would be used.
Mr. Curry, please. Good to see you again, sir.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Mayor and Council. It's an honor to be standing in front of you, and I'll try to answer this and be very brief as I go. Transitions is the largest homeless center in the Midlands. It has 260 beds, another 70 or so folks who come in during the day, what we call day users, for a total of 330 folks every day. We have received folks from Blythewood. We're honored to do that. They need help. We're down there, and I know that you all support us, so I'm more than welcome anyone from Blythewood who is homeless. We have 50-plus partners who come on site to help people. We've stayed open through all of COVID. We haven't reduced any services. It is a little harder to get volunteers to come into a congregate setting, but apart from that, the staff continues to work every day on site, helping people in need. I know you have homeless folks here, maybe not as many as downtown, and maybe you're grateful for that. But we stand ready to help folks. We are very grateful and thankful for your support in the past. We look forward to that continuing. I can answer any questions. We served 188,000 meals last year. We've helped 3,200 folks get permanent housing since we've been opened. That was 267 last year. So we are constantly, our goal is to put people into permanent housing and not just give them a warm meal. It's not bad to give them a warm meal and a bed, but we would prefer to do that and get them into their own housing where they're no longer homeless. Any questions, sir, that I could answer for the council or yourself?
There are no questions. I want to commend you and your organization for what you do for our
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember remarks or questions?
Mayor.
Please, Councilmember Brown.
Ms. Curry, I just want to also thank you for what you do. The fact that you were able to get people in permanent housing in this market speaks volumes of how well you guys are able to do this.
Thank you, sir.
And I really do appreciate you for what you do for our community and the citizens of Richland County. So thank you, sir.
Mr. Curry, I'm going to echo the same from my fellow council members and the mayor. I got the opportunity to really see exactly what happens there from about a 20,000-foot bird's eye view during the pandemic, sending supplies over from EMB during the pandemic, like the mask and hand sanitizer and some other things that you all needed. So thank you for what you do for the citizens that are struggling at that moment. And I just pray that you guys continue to be a blessing upon them.
I want to take a privilege here and pass you each my card. If you're ever concerned about somebody or you want to come down and tour, I'll give you a personal tour of the facility. It might be very eye-opening to see what we do there. It's kind of a little city inside of a city block that people don't realize. They drive by it all the time and don't realize what's going on. Thank you very much for your consideration this evening. Thank you.
And Mr. Williamson, while he does that for the good of the public, what is the requested appropriation?
$5,000.
I just want to make sure that's on the record. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have one follow-up question.
Please, Councilman.
Unrelated to this. Mr. Wilson, in the memo, it states that there's $11,500 remaining. Who are the remaining potential recipients for the outside agency requests? If you know off the top of your head.
I know, let's see, the YMCA, the Senior Resources, Meals on Wheels, and Community Keys. I believe those are the three that are remaining. And I've emailed each of them twice, and just haven't gotten a response at all from any of them. It's not, so he's just waiting for a response.
Thank you, sir.
Any further questions from the council?
Mr. Mayor, if there's no further comments, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been probably motioned and approved the allocation of funds for outside agency transition in the amount of $5,000. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Curry. Moving to Part E, discussion and approval of the H-Tax final report for Queens of the Castle Basketball Showcase. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Queens of the Castle Basketball Showcase was held at Westwood High School on December 2nd through the 4th of last year. 10 teams participated from in and out of state, 150 athletes, 42 coaches, 280 spectators, and 150 additional guests. All stayed in local hotels, and the Holiday Inn Express served as the event headquarters. Meals and lunches were purchased from local restaurants, and they have provided receipts and proofs of purchase for the items paid for with the funds provided by the town.
Comments, Councilmember?
Just one statement, just a comment. I did speak to Jason Powell at the baseball game, and he did send his regrets that he could not be here today. So I did speak with him at length on Saturday morning during the first baseball game over there, and just, told him how much we enjoyed supporting them, but he just did want to make sure he passed on that he just sends his regrets that he just wasn't able to attend tonight. They've got baseball tournaments going on over there tonight along with Great Falls, so, he's a busy man too, but I told him I would express his sentiments to council and to all who were in public tonight.
Councilman Griffin.
This was a outstanding event. I attended a few of the games over, and that's a good sight to see a lot of the ones and twos in the country come in to play, and some of the colleges there to watch them and scout them out. That's a wonderful opportunity, and it's something that I think will continue to put Blythewood on the map.
Further comments?
I make a motion to approve if no other comments, sir.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve the 20% remaining age tax for the final report of the Queens of the Castle Basketball Showcase for Westwood High School. Any discussion? I'll just make a comment. I've said it before. It's good to see our female athletes competing, especially when we have the model of Coach Dawn Staley in the University of South Carolina women's basketball setting national records, and it's just good to see that our young daughters in the community are out there excelling, and I'm proud that we are supportive of them. And thank you to the council for providing those resources. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is passed. Part F tonight, first reading, ordinance 2022.003, discussion and approval of amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget capital improvement fund. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do need to make some amendments to the current budget. So this is divided up into three amendments. This is the first one is the amendment that reflects the amount we spent making improvements to the property surrounding the depot building, which was just an unbudgeted expense at the time. The money was in the bank, designated from the sale of that property to be used for improvements, and it was used for, as you can see, the sod and irrigation that's out there.
Comments, council members? Hearing none, I'll be looking for
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022.003, the amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget capital improvement fund. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The first reading passes. Thank you. Part G tonight, another first reading, ordinance 2022.004, discussion and approval of an amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget, general hospitality tax, DOCO Manor, and ARP funds. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you. So this budget amendment is driven by the need to adjust the projected revenue of the Manor for this fiscal year due to largely to the unexpected cancellations from COVID. To adjust for this lack of projected revenue, I'm proposing that we add the ARP fund into this current budget, and it will include funds that we have received thus far, the first half, and that will be the revenue for that fund, and then it will be used to cover the expenses for the remainder of the fiscal year for the Manor, as well as the Manor flooring that was just approved. This also covers transfers from the general fund and hospitality fund, tax fund to the Manor fund. So those will go to zero.
Discussion, comments, council members?
So, Mr. Mayor,
Please.
so just so I'm understanding correctly, Mr. Williamson, we're taking $195,413 from the ARP?
That's correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve, sir.
Second. It's been probably motioned and seconded to pass the first reading of ordinance 2022.004, the approval of an amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget, general hospitality tax, DOCO Manor, and ARP funds. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, gentlemen. Part H tonight, first reading, ordinance 2022.005, discussion and approval of an amendment to ordinance 2021.007, fiscal 22 budget, general fund expenditures, legal specifically. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this budget amendment just reflects the increasing legal costs caused by the current lawsuits.
Councilmember comments?
Comment.
Please, Councilman Griffin.
As we are projecting to increase this, do we have any idea if we'll have to do it again?
So for this fiscal year?
Yes.
I don't think so. I mean, that was my question coming up with this, so I'm hopeful that this was meant to get us through, so that's my understanding.
So in the next budget session, do you think we need to keep it at that highest amount going into the next budget year?
I'm going to be looking for some guidance on that as we prepare. I would think so, but because of what we have going on, I'm not going to give you a very educated answer on this, but.
I'm just trying to give myself an idea,
Sure.
and I know some of the public might be curious too if we're asking for more funds to be put into a legal placeholder, if that's something that's going to continue to rise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
And probably a motion and seconded to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022.005, discussion and approval of amendment to ordinance 2021.007, the fiscal 22 budget, general fund expenditures, legal. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Ms. Cowan, please call the roll. Aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. The ayes have it. The first reading passes. Moving to part I tonight, discussion and approval of the fiscal 23 budget calendar. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is just, I provided this to you during the workshop, but just want to make sure that these dates work. Just late this afternoon, Chamber said they were having their golf palooza on May 5th. So I'm not sure what takes precedent at our budget workshop, but that may dictate changing that. But those are the dates proposed.
Council member discussion?
I'm good with those dates.
Yeah, I'm good. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and seconded to approve the fiscal 23 budget calendar. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Please, Councilman Brown.
Mr. Williamson, on the April 21st, May 5th budget workshops, those are traditionally in the mornings, right, around 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. No problems. Proceed. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you. Part 5 tonight is open citizen comment, and we have here this evening Mr. Mike Ross and Mr. Phil Fry.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's good to be here and see all of you. And Mr. Williamson, good to see you too. And to get Steve Hastrock up at the front is amazing. To our new lawyer, town attorney, great. And Ms. Cowan, always a pleasure. Fun to come tonight. I signed up because a few months back in December, you asked the Chamber to take over the Christmas parade. The Knights of Columbus, for some reason, and they contacted us, the Chamber, and the Transfiguration Catholic Church could not, for whatever reason. And we graciously said, hey, let's do it. We've done it before, and we could do it again. And we did it. And it was a wonderful event. And the fun part of that is, and I remember when I was mayor and received one of these, a few years back, the Transfiguration Church in Knights of Columbus didn't spend all the money. They didn't need to spend what was appropriated for the parade. And they gave the money back to the town. And I thought that was one of the most unique things. I had never had that, never had it again in 8 years, where an organization said, hey, we didn't need it all. Here's some back. So, folks, you're going to get that tonight. The Greater Blythewood Chamber of Commerce had the final records and report, and I will submit that to Mr. Williamson, the town attorney, to look at, and with all the calculations of expenses, and you gave us $7,500, and it looked like our expenses, when all is totaled, it totaled less than that, and that left a refund to the town of Blythewood for $1,364.15. Now, the neat thing about that is we still know how to do things. We still raised $5,000 for scholarship and didn't spend the money that the town gave us except to put on the parade. We came up with a unique idea of selling the Harold Branham prints that were just absolutely unbelievable and sold 40 of them. And we raised that much money, and we'll be giving those scholarships out in May or sometime upcoming to any high school graduating senior in the 29016. So thank you. This is sort of fun. I hope you really enjoy this. Splendid. You got a lot more.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And again, we appreciate your leadership on the Chamber of Commerce, former Mayor Ross, and thank you for doing that. Again, it gets better and better. That's kind of our mission here. Take what you have and improve upon it. Leave it better than you found it. And that's certainly what you have been doing. Thank you very much. Mr. Phil Fry.
Phil Fry in the Blythewood Chamber, and I'm proud to follow those footsteps. It was indeed a pleasure. Over 5,000 copies of these are in. If you haven't received it yet, we're trying to distribute them as quickly as we know how. And there's a full box over here on the table. You can take some to your place of work and tell everybody that they're here. I only have 2 legs, and I can only get so many out at a time. So please do, and I think they're beautiful. And the conversation, Mr. Williamson, that I had with the Free Times who did the ad sales and the printing of the book, we exceeded the target goals. So that's another fun part of making it all happen. And just in case anybody did not know, there is a Rib Fest going on next weekend, March 11th and 12th. And there's plenty of tickets available to come eat about 43,000 bones of ribs, 10,000 pounds that we're cooking. And please, you can DocoRibFest.com. You can buy your tickets. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Sir, before you leave, so it's a chili cook-off. Tell us a little bit about Friday night and Saturday. Just for the people at home. Yeah.
The event has grown, and obviously the ribs didn't last, so that's why we increased to 10,000 pounds. But our distinguished people who brought this idea to us to begin with, Mr. Kraut over here at Doco Smoke and Mr. Ross, obviously we've increased that. We've added, with the Friday night, Senior Level Baptist Church is doing movie night, and we got Tokyo Joe. Amidst of that is no extra charge to the competitors. Their own chili, do their own recipe. It's open. It can be meat. It can be white, and there's tastings for that. And those tickets are good for that as well. And a bunch of other features we've added, which include 5K run, starting off in the morning, and plenty of great entertainment. And everybody come have a wonderful time.
Forgot the most important part. How about the Bloody Marys?
Some people wanted to volunteer to be the judge for the Bloody Marys. We don't accept volunteers for that. We accept volunteers for a lot of other things.
Thank you, Mr. Fry. Any other open citizen comments? Any citizens wishing to speak? Please.
Heather, this is the first time I've actually attended a town council meeting. My mother and I, we live in the phase 1 of Hunter's Run down Langford Road. I decided to attend this meeting because in hopes to address, if any of y'all live down Langford Road, the biggest major problem, and I mean it's a beautiful town. We love it being here. It's nice because it's country. We don't want to see it developed as much as neighboring towns and the city, because we enjoy that country feel, though it is close enough to where we need to be as far as resources. The major problem we have is down Langford Road, as you know. I don't know if you listened to the news today, but it was our 3rd accident in less than a year. It was the 2nd one in a week. And that would have to be at the Grover Wilson hardscrabble intersection. It is a major problem. I've noticed because that is our only way in and out. If we're not hitting hardscrabble, we're going down Langford Road. I've noticed for the past 6 months, somebody ran down the hardscrabble street sign. It has yet to be replaced or put up. So therefore, we got people coming down trying to look for hardscrabble, trying to get out that way. Nobody knows. If you don't know, down Langford Road, Grover Wilson hardscrabble is extremely dark. It gets very dark out at night. Deer start popping out. And that intersection is just weirdly designed. People are popping in and out across Langford Road constantly. There either needs to be a street light or a flashing yellow, red for that, or it needs to be I don't think that it needs to be redesigned, but definitely needs at least like a sodium light or something to light up that intersection, because it's basically a main intersection besides the town, if you ask me. We can't afford to have any more citizens, coming and getting in accidents. I don't know what had happened, but it was 3 people involved. We don't need any more loss of life as far as that goes. And a year ago, we lost a mother and two children to that intersection. And I have a 3-year-old. I'm a single mother and disabled vet to a 3-year-old, so I've had a lot of close calls with people popping across. That's just the citizens and driving themselves. But it needs to be at least lit up, that intersection, to know that, hey, this is a major intersection. Plus, now we're going to get those 4 lanes ending at hardscrabble, which is just up, not too far up the road. So, projected going to have a lot more traffic. So, if you may look into something like that. As far as, I think not revenue per se, but like I know Crickentry has been an issue with finding builders and sales and stuff. And going back to that country feel, living out in Blythewood, where we're far enough apart where we don't hear each other sneeze or whatever. But my suggestion would be maybe bring couple of baseball diamonds, something to at least the front part of Crickentry. Let's bring baseball back to everyday life. I'm a softball player, so that would be awesome. I know you have the playground here, maybe another one. I just had the honor to take my daughter to, I don't know if you've ever seen Springdale, the town of Springdale. They have a beautiful park that was dedicated to a young lady, and my daughter absolutely loves it. It's just the type of playground that it is. I would suggest y'all check it out. Very nice equipment. I don't know if there's any other baseball diamonds around or something kind of park. Thirdly, as far as revenue, I think, goes, is there any proposal of, like, bringing in cell towers or some kind of, I mean, we've got the land out here, I guess. I've noticed True Vista with Blythewood Farms. I'm with T-Mobile. I mean, T-Mobile, you know, about sharing cell towers and stuff like that. But if you've got the land to allocate with, you know, to bring out a cell tower out this way would be wonderful. I know we've got, you know, with the 5G, I mean, I don't know how many Gs we can increase our phones, you know, how high we go, but definitely, I mean, we're all spread out here, so I think that would be a good thing to look into as far as getting some cell service. Because I don't know, the nearest one is Publix, I think, is that tower. It extends, so I'm barely hanging on with, we got Spectrum and AT&T. So we don't have many options. I know True Vista is coming in. True Vista doesn't get a very good review. Something to look into as far as, you know, getting more instead of, you know, monopolizing with Spectrum. I mean, you know, it's becoming now that we rely on Spectrum, you know, so it would be nice to have some choices. I know Xfinity, I would have liked to have gotten Xfinity out here. They don't extend this far out. We're not that far out. It would be nice to have some more choices as far as cell service. I know I rely on Wi-Fi a lot, so that's it.
Wonderful.
So thank you very much, guys.
I just want to thank you for coming, and 3 points I have. Number one, thank you for your service. We appreciate that. Number two, it's always good to hear citizens with concerns to come up, especially safety. We take it seriously as a council. You may or may not know the area you live in and the area you're speaking of just outside the town of Blythewood, but that's to say we still take it seriously. Our town administrator just wrote down everything you said, and we'll go back and address it with SCDOT and Richland County. And then the third point is we are serious about expanding recreational facilities. Many of us here have engaged the recreation department. Our elected county council members who govern that area you're speaking of just outside the municipality are serious about that. Blythewood is now, based on the new census data, the third or fourth, depending on what survey you look at, largest growing municipality in the state of South Carolina. So we're serious about bringing not only softball and baseball, but football, basketball, lacrosse, all recreation facilities.
We want to get our kids back outside again.
Absolutely
right. I used to come home I'm originally from upstate New York, but by the way, the military brought me down here. So I used to come home by the fire siren. You know, my mom used to come home with lights on. So our lights do come on when it gets dark. So I mean, let's get our kids back outside, knocking on doors. You want to come out and play? Let's go bring that back before we lose it to electronics and stuff in this day and age. So definitely. Go ahead.
No, but thank you. I just want to say thank you very much as a concerned citizen. We'll take this back. We will give you feedback on your concerns. Please keep coming back. Please keep bringing good ideas. Call other representatives, county council members, state house and state senator. The more voices we have, our concern is this area of Richland Northeast, the county, and Fairfield County is growing. There are certain services that we're pushing for as a council here to get. We have a lot of information to give you. Blythewood Town site, you can look at some of our online previous meetings. But we will follow up with you, especially concerns about the safety at that intersection. And I do believe the last briefing I received is a new high school is going to go right there on Grover Wilson and Lightford Road. That's our next high school, right there at the corner. So if that happens, I can assure you that traffic will slow down because they'll put in safety measures as far as school crossings go, which is a good thing. So we owe you answers back on that. Please reach out to Mr. Williamson in Town Hall. Call me directly, and we'll continue this conversation. But I want to thank you for coming. Council member remarks?
Thank you.
Please.
I will send Mr. Williamson a link so that you can follow the state in their progress with the broadband expansion. I had a conversation with some of the state house members about that side of Blythewood of the zip code. It's just like the mayor said, it's just right outside of our zip code. So I had to naturally default to the county council representative on that side, but they still shared it with us, so.
But we still fall under Blythewood, right? I mean,
Well, you're outside the municipality, so it's outside of our control, but we do have influence and we have very, very
we're like
proactive.
miles from Kershaw, so I don't know where we stand as far as.
You're just right outside. You're still our neighbor and we will still take your interests to heart. Yes, sir.
And please support us when we start looking at annexation.
Yeah.
Annexation will be important for you all on that side of the zip code later on.
Other comments? Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other citizens wishing to speak before we adjourn? Hearing none, council members will be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, sir.
I was remiss earlier. I just want to quickly, for the audience, before we adjourn, talk about upcoming events. The NRBI baseball tournament is happening at Westwood High School this week, February 26th to March 4th. The Rib Fest, March 11th and 12th. The Spring Artisan Market Spring Artisan Market at Doco Meadows Park, April 2nd. Blythewood Rodeo coming up April 22nd and 23rd. The SCDI baseball tournament at Blythewood High School, April 12th through 16th. The Blythewood Chamber of Commerce golf tournament is coming in April, or is it May now? I'm sorry? May 5th, thank you. The Independence Day concert and fireworks at Doco Meadows here is July 2nd. The Women's South Carolina Golf Association Women's Open Golf Tournament at Cobblestone again will be in August. Blythewood Chamber of Commerce, another golf tournament, Par 3 Palooza, that's September? No? Okay, all right, disregard that. I've been told no. The Oktoberfest, October 1st and 2nd this year. The Shaggy Memorial Run at Doco Meadows Park in October. And the Blythewood Tree Lighting Ceremony here in front of Town Hall will be November 27th, and the Blythewood Town Christmas Parade December 11th. I just want to put that out for public consumption. Mark your calendars. Please come out and join us. Great events all. This council is serious about providing activities for citizens and enjoying our fellowship together as a community. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you all. Par 3 Palooza?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I know, but they usually have a tournament and they had it last year, they had two.